Hey rugby fans, welcome back to the channel. So, France just lost to South Africa, extending their losing streak, and let's just say, not everyone is feeling sorry for them. In fact, one former All Black legend is basically saying, "I told you so." We're talking about Justin Marshall, and he is not holding back. If you cast your minds back to July, you will remember the controversy when France sent what many called a B team to tour New Zealand. Justin Marshall was one of the loudest critics back then, and he copped a lot of heat from French fans online. Well, after France's latest loss to a 14-man Springboks side in Paris, Marshall has grabbed the mic again, and he's pointing the finger right back at those keyboard warriors. Speaking on the good, the bad, and the rugby podcast, Marshall had a very direct message. He said, and I quote, "Can I please, for the keyboard warriors, the Frenchies out there who love me so much, just say that you reap what you sow." Ouch. He's making it crystal clear that he sees this losing streak as a direct consequence of the decisions made earlier in the year. He argues that by not sending their best players to face the All Blacks, France disrespected the test window and, by extension, the All Blacks team of 2025. Marshall hammered home the point that the French team that played South Africa was stacked with superstars, a world away from the squad that toured New Zealand. He laid out the consequences. You lost 3 test matches there. Now you've lost the 4th on the bounce, and you're plummeting down the world rankings. This isn't just about bragging rights, it has real tangible effects. The timing of this slump couldn't be worse for France. With the World Cup draw happening in December, their ranking is more important than ever. Marshall spelled it out perfectly. Instead of being ranked 1 or 2 and getting a favorable pool with a couple of so-called minnows, France is now risking a much tougher draw. They could find themselves in a pool of death, a scenario every top team wants to avoid. His warning is stark. At your peril. Do you not respect the international rugby window because it affects your world ranking? Right now, France is sitting 5th in the world rankings. While they have a decent buffer over 7th place Australia, they are on the edge of that top tier of teams for the World Cup seedings. A slip further down could be disastrous for their campaign on home soil. This whole situation shines a massive spotlight on a long-standing issue in French rugby. Their inability to consistently field their top talent in the July test window has always been a problem. So, why does this keep happening? It's all tied to the domestic top 14 competition and player welfare. The French Rugby Federation, following World Rugby's guidelines, has a 2,000-minute season limit for players. This is to protect them from burnout and injury. But when you look at the schedule, you see the problem. The top 14 has 26 regular season rounds, plus Champions Cup games, finals, and the Six Nations. All in all, a top player could potentially rack up over 3,400 minutes of game time before the July window even opens. It's an insane amount of rugby. Because the top 14 final happens so late in the season, just before the July tours, many of France's star players have already hit their minute limit or are simply exhausted. This forces the national selectors to leave them at home. Justin Marshall was already vocal about this very issue back in July, before the All Black series even started. He argued that the club game in France is given far too much importance, often at the expense of the national team. On that same podcast, he said, for a very long period of time, the French have been disrespecting the international window. He felt it was disrespectful to New Zealand rugby, because Kiwi fans, like fans everywhere, want to see the best players compete. They want to see a true test of strength. He didn't mince words, saying they are not bringing their best players on tours, which is not respectful for our country because we want to see their best players playing here. Marshall's core argument is that the entire French rugby calendar is out of sync with the rest of the world. He criticized the justification that players are too tired after the top 14 final. He said, "Sure, but that's because you have got your window for the entire calendar year out of kilter." His point is that other nations manage to rest their top players at different times throughout the year to ensure they are available and fresh for international duty. He believes France isn't playing by the same unwritten rules. You're disrespecting the window that everybody else buys into. Everybody else in the world does not send B teams out. They send their top players on their tours. It's a powerful accusation, suggesting that France's domestic priorities are undermining the integrity of international rugby. Now, you can see this from two sides. On one hand, player welfare is absolutely paramount. No one wants to see players injured or burnt out from playing too much. The 2,000-minute limit is there for a good reason, and the French Federation is right to enforce it. The top 14 is one of the most lucrative and competitive leagues in the world, and the clubs who pay these players massive salaries want their stars available for the business end of the season. You can understand their position. But on the other hand, there's the international game. Test rugby is supposed to be the pinnacle of the sport. It's nation versus nation, best against best. When a top-tier country consistently fails to send its strongest side on tour, it devalues the contest. It's frustrating for the host nation, for the broadcasters, and for the fans who pay good money to watch. Marshall's "you reap what you sow" comment might seem harsh, but it comes from a place of passion for the international game. He sees France's current losing streak and drop in rankings as the logical outcome of a system that prioritizes club over country. The losses on the field are a reflection of the compromises being made off it. This whole debate really brings the classic club versus country conflict into sharp focus. It's a challenge that many sports face, but in rugby, with its brutal physicality and packed calendar, it's especially intense. For France, with the World Cup on home soil just around the corner, the stakes have never been higher. They have a generation of unbelievably talented players, a golden generation that many believe could finally win them the William Webb Ellis Cup. But will they be sabotaged by their own domestic structure? Will the very league that has made their players stars be the reason they fall short on the biggest stage? It's a complex problem with no easy answers. It would likely require a fundamental restructuring of the French season, a move that would face huge resistance from the powerful top 14 clubs. As we head towards that crucial World Cup draw, all eyes will be on France's ranking. Justin Marshall has thrown down the gauntlet. He's called out the system, and now the results on the pitch seem to be backing up his claims. It's a bitter pill for French fans to swallow, especially after the high of their recent Six Nations Grand Slam. What do you guys think? Is Marshall right to be so critical, or is he being unfair to the complexities of French rugby? Is it simply a case of prioritizing player welfare, or is France disrespecting the international game? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. It's a fascinating debate with huge implications for the future of the sport. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more rugby content. See you in the next one.